the funny thing that happened when we finished the film, and we were going out in a bar near to the dance studio where we filmed a lot of stuff. And it turned out they had a salsa night. And a guy came up and invited the girl in the movie, the main actress, to dance. And so she was dancing with him, they were doing salsa, you know. And then he invited me to dance, and I got up and I started dancing salsa with him. And salsa is a really amazing thing. It's a bit like the tango, the milonga, which you don't choreograph it. You know, it's all freestyle. So when you go to a salsa club, you say, well, how can everybody just get up and dance with everybody? And the reason is because you just get used to freestyling. Just like in a normal club, you know, dancing, you don't necessarily choreograph the steps, you just go with the flow. And what I had to learn to do with the salsa there, I had to learn to let go. So I had to learn to let somebody lead me. And the guy that had asked us to dance was a really, really great guy, and he became a really good friend of ours. And he was really good at leading. You know, instead of just like throwing us around the dance floor, he just was really, really great at leading with his hands. So you'd hold somebody's hand and you know which way they're going to move you. You know which way they're guiding you. So when you learn to dance salsa, suddenly you can dance with anybody because you start to learn that sort of, it's like a language. You know, the movement, and you understand what's happening and where you're going, listening to the music, but you're also letting go and allowing somebody to make the decision for you, to say, yes, we're going to go this way, yes, we're going to go that way, which is very hard for me. I'm not very good at that. But what I found was it was wonderfully freeing. It was wonderfully freeing to be on the dance floor and to be dancing with somebody who could just connect with me with no words, you know, sometimes with the eye contact, but it's an energy, you know, it's the hands and it's the energy. So you become almost psychic with that person, you know, you really can read each other and you dance, and it's a beautiful thing. And I started to go to salsa in that club about 3 times a week. So I almost didn't need to go to the gym because I was doing all the salsa and I was doing all these other things. And it was just, you know, just a wonderful thing. And then, so it was wonderful for me when I started to do Zumba, because I already had that experience. And my first teachers at Zumba weren't really so much into the Latin music. They were doing a lot of pop. So I already had that salsa from my salsa teacher. Yeah. So then when I started doing my training, and then when I started trying to learn choreography, I found it kind of easy because I had that salsa experience. And we also didn't just do salsa in the club, we did other kinds of things. And I loved it so much, and I so enjoyed being able to dance, to learn, to teach, to share everything. It was just so incredible. But one of the things I found so difficult was teaching salsa. And the reason was I loved it so much, I enjoyed it so much, and I was really quite good at it. It was my favorite thing. But every time I tried to teach it, everyone would just kind of look at me and go, what's going on? What are you doing? And when I went to convention for the first time, it was like 3 years after almost 3 years after I did my training. The one thing I really wanted to do is I wanted to do a class with this guy called Walter Diaz, because he was like the best. So he had he did a salsa merengue mashup, he taught all that, but that was booked. But what I did is I went to his masterclass. So it was like an hour and a half where he just did a masterclass of like salsa, mainly salsa merengue, all kinds of Zumba. I went to this class and he was incredible. He was so amazing. He really just blew my mind. One of the greatest teachers. And we were doing this really long class. And I have to remember this thing. So he got us to just like face off, you know, so half of us one side, half of us the other. And we're dancing along and we're doing all this, it's great. And he gets us to do this like shaky, 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 shaky thing. And he comes up to me and I'm thinking, oh, fab, he's come up to me because I'm doing it so well. Shaky, shaky, shaky thing. Comes up to me and he goes, like points at me, he goes, yes. And he goes, yeah. He goes, because you need to work that bit. So he's basically coming up to me without words and saying, yes, you need to really do this move because you've got the flabby arms. Thanks so much. Really nice guy, but that was painful. But anyway, so he gets up on the stage and he's doing all this salsa and he's going crazy and it's wonderful. And I looked up at him and he was doing this move and he looked so fantastic. And I remember thinking, I just said, oh, I want to learn how to do that. I want to learn that move. And then I realized that all he was doing was what we would call in salsa a basic forward and back. So like forward on the left, together, back on the right, together. That's it. But when he was doing this step, what he was doing, he was adding in all the hip moves, everything, all the arms, all this kind of stuff, and what we would call the sabor, or the flavor, the spice, all that knowing, all that character, all that passion. And I suddenly went, oh, this is what I'm doing to my students. This is why they can't follow me. Because I am putting too much flavor, too much. I am trying to give them everything. I'm trying to give them everything when what they need is they need me to start at the beginning. Very easy, very simple. Forward together, back together, forward together. Ah, okay, now we got that. Okay, let's add some arms. Okay, let's do that. Let's add some energy, some fire. Let's add some spice. Let's add some hips. Let's add some flavor. Excuse me, and in that moment, when I saw that, when I understood that, I became a much, much better teacher. It was in that moment I went, aha. You know, we often talk about these aha moments. And I realized, when people are finding it difficult, I don't need to go more. Because that's what I was doing. Every time people were finding it difficult, I was putting more energy in. I was going bigger. I was going grander. I was trying to show them more. And what I needed to do was to show them less. Basics, simple, easy. Just slow it down, make it simple, make it simple. And when you say it, you know, I mean, look, come on, it sounds really basic, doesn't it? It's like when you put the mirror up and you go, oh yeah, I see what I'm doing. But it took me so long to understand that. And I will tell you from all the trainings I've done and with the greatest teachers in the world, we all make the same mistakes. We all make the same mistakes. And it's a mistake I even make, you know, in this kind of thing, in my books. Try and give you everything. And then I made smaller books, tiny books. And of course, people buy the tiny books because they want one answer at a time. Let me teach you this, let me teach you this, let me teach you this. Which is why you'll probably see some of this stuff that I'm doing today coming up as shorts on YouTube. Let's make it smaller, smaller, smaller. Because it's easier for people to learn. If you make it smaller, smaller, smaller.